Alright guys, welcome back to Hyrule Warriors. The last time we met in Hyrule Warriors, we did the mission in the Elden Caves where we cut through there to get to the Faron Woods because Impa heard a rumor that a young woman was leading a revolution or something like that in the Faron Woods against some monsters. So yeah, now this chapter is going to be dedicated to that said young woman because, yeah. Yeah, every chapter is going to start with like a little recap of what happened previously. So basically, every part's going to begin with a previously on Hyrule Warriors. I like these. It's nice to, remember what happened last time. And plus, you can skip it if you want to, if you feel like you don't need it. I leave it in for the Let's Play because, since parts are only are every couple of days, it's a good way for you guys to remember what happened if you forgot, or if you're joining in late, it's a good way to get a good idea of what happened previously. So actually, I am actually using Lynx's Fire Rod, and, well, because you have to on hard mode to get the Gold Skulltula. But right now we can play as Link, Impa, or Sheik, and this is the musical cue that they changed. It used to be playing the battle theme right from the get-go, but they changed it to be something completely different. But we have a new Zelda character here that is exclusive to this game. This is Lana, a sorceress, a white sorceress who, well, we'll get more into her origins at a later time. And gonna be honest, I really like her. I think that, one, I love her personality. I think she's very interesting. And two, I think she has some of the best, I think she has really good weapons, especially her sorcerer, her tome, and her summoning gate. I think those two weapons are really good. Her Deku Spear I need a little more time to experiment with, but I think she's really good overall. But she has that typical anime girl aesthetic thing going on, which is, that's honestly the best way to describe Hyrule Warriors, to be honest with you, is it's very anime Zelda. I mean, just from what the characters do in combat, how they react to stuff and stuff like that, and the, very just, very outlandish character designs at points. Like Lana, very impractical combat clothing, and Link's scarf, obviously. So this is all, so one thing I failed to mention is that during Legend mode, you will be getting items in the first playthrough, but unfortunately, since I've already beaten Legend mode, I have all the items. So right now, you were supposed to be looking for the bow and to defeat the Deku Babas, but considering that I already have the bow, I can just defeat the Deku Babas that easily. So Lynx's Fire Rod is actually a pretty good weapon. I like it. Has some really good combos. I like the one that I demonstrated towards the beginning of the map where it turns into an axe temporarily and then, he throws it around and stuff like that. Yeah, but the game would basically be saying, everyone would be panicking, saying, look for the thing, we gotta find it. But since, again, I already have the bow and arrow, I think the game didn't even prompt me this time, but they would tell you where to find it. I think it's in the bottom left of the map, right below where that little outpost is. I wonder if Future Me is going to put an arrow there or something to indicate where it is for me, but he doesn't have to do that. I'm not going to expect him to. Future Me is a dick when it comes to editing. Unless it's for the reviews. Yeah, this is the combo I was talking about earlier with Link. I like this combo right here. We haven't seen Volga in a while. I just realized that. But, that doesn't really matter. But I actually really like this theme right here. I like this level. I like it. Again, I like a lot of the I actually really do like a lot of the soundtrack. I think most of it's actually really good. God damn it. God damn it. My speaker went off because it was playing. It gave me a notification, so ignore that if it was heard. I do have this mic in cardioid mode, but I'm sure that picked up, but who cares? It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Dun, dun, dun. I guess what else should I talk about, considering... I mean, this is technically a Zelda game, so I guess I could talk about Tears of the Kingdom, because... Well, they haven't really... First off, Tears of the Kingdom leaks are all over the internet right now. Luckily, I have not seen any, so I do not intend to look at them. But I wholeheartedly look forward to Tears of the Kingdom. I think Breath of the Wild was one of my favorite 3D Zelda games. I didn't want to say one of my favorite Zelda games, because that honor still kind of belongs to Link to the Past / Link Between Worlds. But Breath of the Wild, I would say, is probably my top 3. My favorite Zelda game of all time is Twilight Princess. And I don't care how many of you people are like, but it's just Ocarina of Time all over again, and all that stuff. Twilight Princess, it's mainly a nostalgic bias for me. Twilight Princess was the first Zelda game that I 100%ed, and I also just love its soundtrack. You know, I love the Hyrule Field theme, a lot of the trailer stuff, and I mean, I also just really love Twilight Princess. I think if I were to tell you what my least favorite Zelda game is, I would probably say Skyward Sword. But that is because I am still very bitter towards Skyward Sword. I think I've grown a little softer on it after the remaster came out was it last year or a couple years ago? I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year because I did a review for it for my school's newspaper. I like the remaster, but again, since it's Skyward Sword is such a slow game that I just, like, it takes 5 hours to get through the tutorial, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I understand you want to teach the player how to do stuff, but, you know, there's so many cutscenes and stuff like that that really didn't need to be there. And you know, all 3D Zelda games kind of have this problem where there's just so much story within the first bits of the game. Like, this problem has honestly kind of started since Majora's Mask. Ocarina of Time didn't really have this problem because... while Ocarina of Time did have a bit of a tutorial section where you were learning about in the Deku Forest and all that stuff, you could still, you know, enter the first dungeon probably within the first hour. Majora's Mask, depending on what you do, could probably take you a long time. But Majora's Mask is also a very different Zelda game altogether. Wind Waker took a bit, and then Twilight Princess, of course, took forever, but at least to me, I think Twilight Princess was more interesting with that regard. I felt like I was learning more about there was a lot more world building for the tutorial in Twilight Princess. You learned more about Link and what his role is before, you know, he becomes a legendary hero. You learn more about the world. You learn more about the people directly in contact with Link. You know, that was what I liked. You know, I am okay with a good tutorial. I am okay with a tutorial if I feel like I'm learning more about the character and what their motivations, especially if it's a long one. Now, if it's like a boring tutorial that's short, then fine, I don't care. You know, it's short. I don't have to suffer through it for too long. But, like, if it's like a 4-hour tutorial and I feel like I'm not learning any sort of development for the character, I'm skipping the cutscenes and just trying to get through the game as fast as I can. Especially if it's a game I constantly revisit because I like it so much. You know, I like everything past the tutorial. And I would say Skyward Sword would be a huge example of that. If I were to ever play Skyward Sword again, I would most likely just be skipping cutscenes and ignoring the dialogue left, right, and sideways, unless I was doing it for a Let's Play. And then I mean, there's a Metroid. I feel like there's a Metroid game I'm thinking of that has a pretty long tutorial. Other M, I'm not going back to Other M that often. Fusion. Fusion has like a 6-minute beginning cutscene. And yeah. Okay, so yeah, right now I'm actually... What I'm doing right now is I'm actually doing the mission for the Gold Skulltula. You have to protect the Deku Tree, and the condition for the Gold Skulltula is to not let the Deku Tree get into any danger. But you have to kill all the Gyptos on the way. And by the way, Gyptos, who was the genius who thought it was okay to put in Gyptos in a game like this? You know, enemies that can stop you dead in your tracks by screaming. I know you have to be in a certain range with them, but fuck you, whoever designed that. Like, I hate you. I will never meet you in my life, probably, but I hate that shit. Like, yeah, if you're in range with the Scream, it will hurt you, and you have to... Here's what I was talking about last part with the item effectiveness. You know, you just do that, and there you go. Oh, Link's about to level up again. Another mechanic that's in this game is cuckoos. Do not touch them. Just like previous Zelda games, if you attack a cuckoo too many times, it will kill you. Like, it will get reinforcements, and it will swarm you. This is mainly an issue in adventure mode. I've never had this problem in legend mode, because usually they're in places you could just ignore them. But... Dear Lord, if there is a cuckoo in a mission and it needs your help, you better prioritize helping it. Otherwise, it will get angry and it will do a lot of damage. Small fry cuckoo can do like 10 hearts of damage from one attack. Like, I just love the fact that the running joke in The Legend of Zelda is the fact that chickens will kill you. Like, I've never really attacked a chicken in real life. You know, most of the chickens I interact with are already dead. So, I have never, like, seen what happens if you attack a chicken. I would assume you would be fine, considering, you know, chicken farms exist, and I have not heard any, like, reports of a worldwide chicken massacre. Oh, I unlocked a skill, by the way. So, all weapons can have slots, depending on the quality, and... Every slot is for a perk that the weapon can have. So some of them are like EXP plus, where that's pretty obvious. You get more experience based on that. Rupees plus, you get more rupees, or strong attacks for certain combos. Like certain combos will be better than you know, by default. You know, in terms of like how powerful they are. There's also, like, basically, if you see a skill, try to look at the description of it and see if it meets your playstyle. Like, if you're trying to farm for rupees, then you really should be using the rupees plus one. Or if you are a very reckless person and you don't guard at all, like I am, and you lose a lot of health as a result, then you should go for the hearts plus one. Has the Gold Skulltula not popped out yet? I think it's because of the prompt situation again. He always gets away. By the way, I love this remix of Kakariko Village from Twilight Princess. Alright, so now we have our second giant boss of the game, Goma. And if you can't tell me what its weakness is, first off, you got the item that it's weak to in this level. Second off, it literally pointed at it for you. We got the Keep Saboteur. Feel the power of the Triforce. So now we have new victory condition here. We have to defeat Goma to win. Yeah, sometimes that will happen throughout missions, is that they will change, the victory conditions on you. And usually, if it's in legend mode, it's like it's usually at the last minute, like right when you defeated a boss or something, like right when you defeated the enemy commander and they summon a giant boss. Usually that's what happens. But sometimes it's something... Sometimes it's like, you know, the victory conditions changed in the middle of the battle because of narrative reasons. By the way, if you're wondering why sometimes there's like little prompts with the little health bar, that's because it keeps being attacked. And I think it really only does it for the allied base, because in most missions there is a base that you have to make sure never falls. And if it falls, it's game over no matter what. Meaning that, you know, the game will stop, you lost. Alright, there's the Gold Skulltula. So, yep, here is what I was talking about with Gold Skulltulas. When the Gold Skulltula appears, a web icon will pop up, and if I shut up for a minute... Yep, why did I do that? Okay, I think I fat-fingered the down button. But if you listen, yeah, the music goes silent so you can hear the Gold Skulltula. And there you go, you get an illustration piece. Illustration pieces, you know, first off, they're really nice wallpapers, gotta be honest here. I need to take a screenshot of the illustrations someday and save them for my desktop, because I actually really like them. They're really nice and either really wholesome or really epic. Depends. But actually, I could probably just look them up online at this point in my life. Alright, so now we gotta fight Goma. I think I already mentioned what happens if you surround a giant boss. Various perks will happen. So, boss magic absorb. I believe another one is like the weak point smash gets faster. Meaning that Link can now do a weak point smash much faster than usual. But Impa left. In fact, where even is Impa? Oh, she's at the bottom. I see her icon right there. Alright, this one took me way too long, and it's because the AI was being a bitch. That's one thing I really hate about the giant bosses sometimes, is that if they're the only enemy in the area, it's a waiting game, unfortunately. So you're waiting for them to reveal their weakness, and they only have the one weakness. So you're waiting until, you know, Goma fires the laser and his eye turns blue, or you're waiting for King Dodongo to open its mouth and do the charge of fireball, or later on you're going to be waiting for Manhandla. I know what I said. You're going to be waiting for Manhandla to expose the vines to be a null material. But in this map especially, Goma likes to jump around back to the enemy base, meaning that you have to chase him down. I think he does it now. It honestly shouldn't have taken me this long, considering that Link is level 70 freaking 4. But no, it's taken me for... It's probably because of the fire rod. But yeah, unfortunately, Goma retreated back to the enemy base. For some reason, the prompt says he went to an unknown location, even though I could clearly see where his icon went. Yeah, but again, I gotta wait for his AI to do what I want. But he doesn't want to do what I want because, you know, I guess he doesn't want to die, which is fair, I guess. Like, yeah, you can technically attack a giant boss without hitting its weakness, but the thing is that you're wasting your time because it really just does, like, really chip damage. Here he goes again doing it. Hit him with the bow, but unfortunately I think his weak point gauge reset, so I have to redo that. But I think this is another instance where the giant boss... So, really what happened was the giant boss was taking forever, and it's not my fault. You know, it is embarrassing how long it took me to defeat the giant boss, but at the same time, it's also the AI. And that's why I'm not a huge fan of the giant bosses in this game, because they take up time. And it's most annoying in adventure mode, where you're graded on your time. Where if you took just a little too long in the main mission of the game, and then they summoned a giant boss, guess what? Now you gotta waste even more time to get them to die. But, you know, if the AI doesn't feel like being nice to you that day, you know, like Goma right now, where Goma's just running around and, you know... No, it's not. Jesus Christ, you guys are fucking babies. But, like... Since Goma's being a bit of a coward, I gotta deal with him. I don't think that's gonna do any. That's not gonna do anything, but whatever. Look at that. One sliver of health is left. Something's gonna kill him. Unfortunately, I didn't get to show off his weak point smash, which is Link stabs him in the freaking eye. Which, oof. But yeah, that's the end of Goma. So, yeah. By the way, no, I don't think I mentioned it. It's pretty obvious that Link isn't the one talking when his portrait appears and there's dialogue next to him. That's Proxy. Proxy is a fairy that's exclusive to this game. I'm surprised they didn't just use Navi. But then Young Link was added as DLC for this game, so then they used Navi for him. Or Navi. I always say Navi. I don't know why. It makes more sense, I guess, but whatever. So this is kind of... So this next cutscene is basically, let's spoil the twist.
For generations, Hyruleans have told the tale of the war across the ages.
I have to ask, who's telling these stories? Because, you know, last time, Impa, you know, gave us the hero's tunic, and then we got the tale about the Triforce and the dark times and all that. So was Impa telling us that? So who's telling us now? Is it Lana? Because, man, Lana and Impa have very similar voices.
Able to read the fates of all who lived, but never interfering.
So yeah, this is actually their way of explaining how Lana and another new character named Sia never really appeared in any games until now. Because, you know, just like the Eternals in the MCU, they knew what was going on, but were not allowed to interfere because fuck you.
Eternally be born when Hyrule's need is greatest. Through her powers, the sorceress should have seen that the hero was bound to another.
Yeah, so the sorceress has a bit of an obsession with Link. You'll see that the most in a later level after we get the Master Sword. Spoiler alert, we get the Master Sword. Where Sia has like a bunch of portraits of Link, and it's like very stalkerish.
And while the sorceress was preoccupied, a fragment of darkness, locked in its prison, saw an opportunity.
And yeah, Ganon used this as a means to possess her. And yeah, so the sorceress split into two beings. One is a later character we're going to meet next part, actually. And then the other... I'm going to spoil it. It's Sia. I mean, it's Lana. Lana is the other part of the sorceress. It's revealed later on in, like, probably like 5 parts from now.
Of course, this evil had its own desires.
Yeah, because...
To use the Triforce to resurrect itself and conquer Hyrule once again.
Dude, every time you've gotten the Triforce, you only conquer Hyrule for like a week.
Having pushed the light from her heart.
Then again, it's mainly his fault. He never kills Link. I'm just saying, like...
The doorway of time itself. Monsters from across the ages pour through the gate, bringing ruin to the land of Hyrule once more.
Yeah, so now we learn about how monsters from other Zelda games are appearing, and it's because of that sorceress that got possessed by Ganon. Yeah, it's Ganon. I don't know. Again, it's a Zelda game. You know, it may be a very different Zelda game, but it's a Zelda game nonetheless, meaning that the story is very predictable. You know, it says a dark being, it's freaking Ganon in some sort of fashion. I don't know what people are expecting. But yeah, I mean... It's Ganon. It's just pretty standard stuff. And plus, I think they revealed that Ganondorf was in the game, like, a month before the game actually released, because I remember they did an overview trailer for almost every major character in the game before, like, they usually did, like, an overview trailer of any characters that were going to get in the game, that were going to be in the game. So it was kind of like watching Smash Directs. You were, like, waiting to see, like, what Zelda character were you going to be able to kill thousands of enemies with. People were, like, speculating, like, oh, I bet, Girahim's gonna get in. Girahim got in, or stuff like that. I mean, it was pretty obvious who was gonna get in, because if it wasn't like there's only a few characters you can do from every Zelda game that are recognizable enough to be like, you know, worth putting in. You know, obviously Zelda, Link, and Ganondorf were gonna get in, because of course they were. They're the main trio that should have gotten in. But like Twilight Princess rep, it was going to be Midna. Midna was a safe assumption. Same for Skyward Sword. Fi was going to be a safe assumption. Girahim, not Zand. Zand's not from Skyward Sword. But again, I am letting this part go on way too long. So the next time we meet in Hyrule Warriors, we are going to actually go to our next mission, which is actually confronting the main villain of the game, named, or not main villain, but a villain of the game, at least the main villain until further notice, Sia. But see you guys next time, and take care.